I take them off and comfy, huh? Rat. I made the thumbnail for the next video. Do you want to see the thumbnail before we start? Where is it? I think this is it. Yeah, this is it. I love making the thumbnails. The thumbnails are so funny. I think they're campy. A face tune a nail on. I love that me and Dear like make references to our old jokes from like years ago. I fucking love us. Dear, I thank God TwitchCon's happening so we can finally like big boob it up. I'm excited. I'm excited. We'll get to get ice cream or something together. And then Jenny's gonna yell at us and call us gay. Very excited. When me and Dear see each other, why did I say your name like that? When me and Dear, I can't say your name. Oh my god, it's like that thing in American Horror Story where you say their name and like you can't say their name because it's like a curse. When we meet each other, we're literally gonna run boobs at each other and just I want us to like run our tits at each other and then like bounce back. Like that scene from Scary Movie where she inflates her boobs and then she flies away. That's us. Alright, let's play some Pokemons. It's giving share. It's giving chair. Mia, you gotta go. I pay for Mia's ticket. This should be it. Let's hope it's working. It's working! It's just the chat. Okay, it's working. I did it! I did, yeah. So it's kind of like, you can kind of see it, but it has to like move up a couple lines just in case there's... I also made the background the game, so it kind of correlates a little bit, if that makes sense. There's growing pains with this, but I think we're at a comfortable spot. I think it looks good. I think it looks better than yesterday, but it's at a good spot. Like, I've never done like DS streams, so like I'm just trying to set it up. Excuse me. Fuck off. Come on now. Okay, this city is so big, like I don't know where to go. Oh, and you're big. I mean, I think they did, but I think they're very limited. Are they not? I texted this guy. Thank you, Red. Thank you for hanging out on airtime too, Red. I appreciate it. Imagine playing Genshin Impact. I could never. Goose Games. Yeah, parentheses G-A-Y. Fucking gay. Out of context, can you imagine? Someone's like, oh my god, Nem's homophobic? Question mark? Yeah, I am. Interesting that I did get Kokomi and you haven't. Hi, Egg. How you doing? Sorry, I'm checking the timeline. I just sent a very not nice message to a not nice individual that sent me a certain video on TikTok. And I stood up for myself. I'm proud of myself. If you know, you know. I like never stand up for myself. I usually am just like, yeah. So, proud of myself. Deja vu. I'm shaking you guys. Okay, is anyone, was someone bullying you? Yeah. The way like, I know some of y'all, some of y'all would be on my close friends story on Instagram if y'all had Instagram and y'all would know. Because I posted it on my close friends story. And I could vent about it, but I don't want someone making clips. But let's just say a certain person was not very nice to me, so... Mayonnaise. Should I do that? Do y'all want to see that? Hi, Doom. If I got the cosplays for Jean and Bea, would y'all watch that? I mean, the cosplays are over the top. Like, I don't have to buy the cosplays. But I feel like it would be so campy to play as them. Like, come on now. I have the glasses. I mean, like, I have, like, the way I could actually wear my glasses on stream. Because they look like Bayo glasses. I can actually see. I literally can read chat so clearly. This is crazy. A whole new world! They're filthy, though. Can you guys see the nastiness on my glasses? Oh, look at my eye. Oh my god, I look like Sid. But there's 2 scratches on my glasses. I don't know if you can see them very well. But on my glasses, there's 2 scratches in the middle of the eyes. And these are very broken. Look how broken these are. Look at this, like, flingy. It's like holding on by a thread. Look at it. I would love to, Marshall. If we get some donations, I'd be more apt to do it, like, right now. Like, the cosplays are $100, which, like, isn't bad, but I did just spend, like, $300 on Halloween looks. Not to talk about money or anything, but... You know me, I'm just being transparent. Because I do that here. Y'all can ask me anything. Does anybody have Pokemon Black and White stand? Like, I don't know where to go. This city is big. Oh, and you're big. No, see, like, what I like to do is, like, for the Nier games, like, we were in Nier outfits. Like, I should have worn the Nier costume for the entirety of it, now that I think about it. But, like, see, like, what I do with Princess Peach. When we play a Mario game, I do the Peach cosplay. You know what I mean? Nemesis, did you just call me big? Got him on your thighs, too. Because, like, the consistency of, like, I could alternate between them. I don't know. Does it make sense? What did you guys think of the Mario movie? Chris Pratt needs to know. Everybody else was okay. I don't know a lot of them. I know Jack Black. I think it's cute, though. I want to see it. I mean, you can't release a Mario movie and just not go see it. I feel like all of us are going to be like, I'm not going to see it because fuck Chris Pratt and fuck the cast. But, like, we're all going to see it. We're all going to go see it. We P-word it. We piss on it? Yeah, I mean, why not? Oh, he's gonna flop, I feel. I fear for him. Make an embarrassment of himself. I mean, as he should. Has to F off. No, yeah. Yeah. I mean, know his place. Stay out of Mario's business. Excuse me, Goose, I don't know who you think you're talking to, because I have her C1, baby! Where did you hear this rumor? You know what I don't have? I don't have her weapon. So use that as a fact. Make fun of me because I don't have her weapon. As long as it's factual. Oh, this alleyway. Oh, I remember, yeah, you have to go here and talk to the... Hi. Oh. I got lemonade. Okay. Give this to your Pokemon? No, bitch, I'm gonna drink this shit. Oh, toxic. Oh. Octopi. Oh. Is this supposed to be a reference? This random guy in the alleyway gave me TM Flash. Like, you know those people in the city that go, woo! Excuse me? Did you just flash me, sir? I'm out of here. I miss Sophie. I was like 12 when this came out. I was probably the same age. What year did it come out? No, but I want her weapon. Her weapon's so pretty. Chaos. Would you prefer Setna or Chaos? It's too much. Like, what a talent. I didn't know Sophie wrote Pony Boy until after. I just, like, didn't know. Like, I thought, like... Because her style was so, like... She had so much range. I just didn't know she wrote it. Because, like, her songs were so vastly different. Which is amazing. (2010) So, yeah, I was, like, 12. I mean, I don't think I played it when it came out, but I got it, like, right after. Maybe, like, a year after. These Fruity Pebble macaroons! I do Mechacomial. I laughed so hard at that last night. These Fruity Pebble macaroons! Setna would be better. Of course! I only played Black and White 2. This is my first time playing the first one. Because we were so poor when I was young. So I never got to play this. I only got the sequel, and it was because I got it at a yard sale. Sorry. I honestly probably played this when I was, like, starting to use the computer. When I first met Dottie and Roxas, some of my mods, my longtime friends I've known for, like, almost a decade now. So yeah, I think that's when I played this, because I think that was one of the first games we ever talked about. Hey Siri. I forgot what I was gonna say. Hey Siri. Can you Google Pokemon Black and White? Oh, no, I wasn't done.
I found this on the web.
I wasn't done. What town are we in? Castelia? Hey Siri. Look up Pokemon Black and White Castelia City walkthrough.
Okay. I found this on the web for lookup.
Perfect. I just need to know where to get started, because I don't know where we're starting in this city. The largest city in the Pokemon world to ever be seen. Jesus Christ. This is quite simply the largest single town in any Pokemon game, and it's easy to get lost. The Pokemon Center is to the straight left. Your first port... Oh, the third gym. Meet up with Bianca. Okay. Oh, the bug gym? Cute. Where's Bianca? Miss Del Rio. Del Taco Trio. Old and wise. That's where that comes from, I forgot! Old and wise. Oh, okay, we found it. Eureka. Hey, girl boss. Hashtag executors make some noise. I'm having a giggle. Not it already have 4K retweets and it just got tweeted. Ava, this picture? Looking Camp right in the eye. Not on Loki being racist for that. Oh wait, yeah, I totally just got that. Not that. I mean, she did wear dreads. In that one music video. Moving on. I call my whole camp. Uh-huh. Because it smells like the outdoors, doesn't it? That's the best thing I've ever said! See, I'm good. That was good. Oh, sorry. Yeah, everybody's been asking for my team. I'll show you in a second. So we did have chat vote on what we wanted the starter, and they got Oshawott. So we have Gawk, Girlcock, then we have Sawcon, and then we have Bimini, Miss Audino Bimini. And then I forgot to name the name of this because at the beginning of the game I accidentally skipped it, so I think in this city you can rename it. So we'll vote on a name for this, the starter, but I just forgot to name it at the beginning of the game. Bombulash. Yep, Sawcon. Sawcon D's nuts. Where am I? Shaka Khan. Queen, see me. Queen, see me. I see you, Queen. God, I love Raja. When I met them, they were so kind. They're also really tall. Really tall. Honestly, All-Star 6 was probably the second best season of All-Stars. Oh my god, yeah, we saw one earlier. I can't catch them yet, though. Not yet. Hi, Fisher. Or you're really short. Ooh, burn. No. I think I'm 5'8". Nope! I'm 5'11", 6'1", 6'2". Yeah, I think if I had to rate Drag Race seasons, All-Stars 2 is definitely up there. I would say Season 3, All-Stars 6, and then UK 2. Those are, like, my favorite seasons. No, I'm sorry. Like, what Violet said in their video with Mick, when they were like, that season was just too much. I don't enjoy watching people be traumatized in the first episode. Like, that was too much. And it took too long for people to get eliminated. Like, it was dumb. Then they had a double save. Like, it was a lot. Yeah, I'm definitely like 6'1", 6'2". I mean, I don't know. That's why I say, like, multiple numbers. I hope if Denali... Well, she can't really deny it, really, because they have control over her. But I hope Denali waits to do an All-Stars. I hope she goes on, like, 8 or 9. No, literally. Violet's talking mad shit on Drag Race, and Mick is like, yeah, I have to go to a gig with RuPaul tomorrow. Can you please not talk shit about RuPaul? I'm 5'15", yeah. Guys, I'm lost in the city! Big girl walking down the Surrey Street! When I have the tutorial right in front of me and I can't figure out where to go. Where is Bianca? Miss Bianca. Miss Bianca. Yeah, Mick and Simone go out with RuPaul like all the time. They go out on dinner dates. They know each other. When are we getting you out to Chicago? Honestly, I just spent a lot of money for Halloween, so probably after Halloween, honestly. I just need to save my money. Like, I can't spend money. Me also, like, oh my god, let's buy Bayonetta cosplays and play Bayonetta. But, like, I just hate, ugh. Been spending so much money lately. Not y'all making me spend money on the Sid cosplay when Bayonetta comes out, so now I have to stream in a Sid cosplay. That was camp. What? Love not being in this. Wait, why? I don't get it. Oh, wow. That's not nice. I mean, to be fair, they didn't have the best run, but they should include them. Where did he say he was? Said he was going to Prime Pier and left. Bianca cosplay sub goal. Bianca cosplay and then Bayonetta cosplay. Yeah. Imagine if you cosplayed as a drag queen. Yeah, so true. Could you imagine if you cosplayed as a good Genshin player? You could never do that. Hi, Flop! Imagine if you cosplayed as Nem. Wait, no, people that actually do do makeup inspired by me are so cute. Like, they're some of my favorites ever. You're a drag queen? Yeah. Yeah. You're 20? Oh my god, wait, do a villager, that'd be so cute. Finally, I found them. Jesus Christ, y'all. Hey, y'all! Is that Iris? Oh my god, it is! Hey, baby. That's the queen right there. Underrated queen, I fear. Yep, there's someone in chat and then their messages just say nothing after them. Like, it's so weird. It says Goose gay? Goose, I'm a gay? Weird. I should have listened to the audio. Listen to the audio. I should have read the dialogue. Oh, thanks for the host, bestie. I thought you, like, just followed me. I was like, oh, okay. Houston, I'm deceased. These fruity pebble macaroons! No, I think you need to donate money to charity. I'll be charity. I'll cosplay charity and you give me money. A nice roleplay scene. I'm down with it. I love this art. It's cute. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Here we go. Perfect. This is definitely camp. Can we fight? I want to fight. Let's fight. Fight me. Fight me. Fight me. Yeah, that's right. You should have cosplayed a celebrity like me. These fruity pebble macaroons! We're naming a Pokemon macaroon, I don't care. You're okay, I guess. Okay, lie again. Me, oh my god, guys, we're gonna dress in black and white for the entirety the entirety of this series. Me wears blue. Okay. I'm doing a Team Plasma cosplay. And just like Team Plasma, I'm gonna go pee. I'm good tonight. I'm making good jokes. I'm so fucking funny. Y'all don't deserve me. These Fruity Pebble macaroons! Oh, I'm gonna keep my door open because it's hot. Why is it so hot today? It was just like 2 degrees yesterday. I look so pretty today. This necklace and these earrings. These are new earrings, by the way. This is from the pack of like 20 I got like a couple months ago. I just never had the outfit to wear them because they have like blue like iridescence in them, so that's why I wore this outfit today. Oh my god, wait, why did we not name a Pokemon Delta? I'm done. Oh, and I was done. If y'all wanna, oh, never mind. I was gonna say, if y'all wanna see the first, like, what I played up to this point, I was gonna say go to my YouTube channel, but I haven't uploaded it to YouTube yet. Oops. Ew, why did that taste bad? Well, I was trying to upload, like, everything. Like, I have like 7 more videos to release on my YouTube, and it's not like edited videos, they're just VODs. But I was trying to catch up on like what I haven't uploaded to YouTube yet, so when going forward, it's only new videos opposed to archived videos, if that makes sense. So, I have to make like 10 thumbnails tonight. So, don't say I am not a hard worker, because I do a lot of hard work. Even though it's just thumbnails and me uploading VODs, it still takes time. And it's exhausting. Even if no one watches them. These Fruity Pebble macaroons! I love the grass starters. I think if my favorite... Let's talk in chat about what our favorite gen of starters. My favorite gen is Gen 2 starters. Totodile, Chikorita, and Cyndaquil. That's my favorite gen for starters. Crusher Girl, did I ask? That was nasty. You know what? I'm not gonna accept an apology. I only accept money. I'm the worst person ever. Why do y'all like me? I mix like and love. Listen, I don't eat those anymore. I'm a changed person. Chimchar is one of my favorites. I love Chimchar. It was like a Furby whose batteries you wish would run out. So true, actually. Those batteries about to burn out when this monster crash hits me. Hi, Safety Bestie. Safety, so for the Nintendo Direct today, we got Bayonetta 3. We got new Kirby game, 3D Kirby game, and we got a lot of stuff, Safety. It was the best Direct in years. Yeah, new Animal Crossing update, Safety. They're adding the cafe finally. Bayonetta looks so fucking good in Bayonetta 3. Holy fucking shit. What else did we get? That selfie I just posted is so pretty. Hi, B. Happy to see you, B. Yeah, Safety, it was a lot. It was... Am I wrong for saying it was the best one in years? That was, like, really good. I'm happy I streamed it. Y'all imagine if I didn't? I'd be plaqued. Oh no, wait, Doom, stop. That scares me, because I definitely am not even close to doing that. Sorry, I'm trying to get the nail glue off my fingers. I bought this today, this nail file. But also was expecting to use it during the Direct as when I was bored, but I wasn't bored. It was great. I'm gonna upload it to YouTube as soon as I can, Safety. Your first wand, cute. I thought that said Halle Berry. I was like, oh my god, what? B, it was so good. New Animal Crossing update, Bayo 3, new Kirby game. Yeah, new Bayo wig. New wig. It was insane. It was so good. My neighbors are probably plucked. I was yelling so loud. Thank you, B. I decided to wear this. We were going to only wear black and white for this game, but I like to dress up for the Nintendo Directs. Like, I like to look kind of like it's an actual red carpet, if that makes sense. So I like try to look like red carpet ready. It's distorting right now. You didn't want to say anything? What happened? Oh, I wasn't screaming into it. I was just yelling. Good night, Cody. Thanks for hanging. See you on Saturday? Yeah, Saturday's next stream. Oh, since Marshall's worked in audio, because he's an audio bot. Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry. Wait, you can trade for Lilligant? Where? Are they gay? Hey! You guys have poppers? What are you doing in this alleyway, huh? Hey, guys. Excuse me? Huh? Okay, bye. Why do these NPCs just keep walking away from me and not telling me where they're going? I mean, they fully tell me where they're going, but I skip the dialogue. Just them things. I'm still shook we got Bayonetta 3 today, y'all. And it's for 2022. Honestly, Bayonetta could probably get Game of the Year. Very possible. I hope it's good. Because there's not a lot of games for 2022. Hold on. I have a list. I'll show y'all. I went and calculated what games we have coming this year in 2022. Well, up till 2022. So we have holiday season this year is pretty stacked. But the only games before today that were like on the rise was Pokemon Arceus, Tiny Tina in March, the Stray Cat game we're gonna stream for PS5. It's like a cat adventure game. You play as a cat. It's gonna be so cute. And then Ghostwire Tokyo. There's some other games, but these are like the main headlines. So that's like 4 games, maybe 5 or 6 major headlines for 2022. There wasn't anything from quarter 2 and quarter 3. There was only summer, January, July, and December games releasing. So there's 9 months of no games. So to hear that we're getting those games next year is kind of good, because a lot of games are planned for 2023, honestly. But like, in the next month, there's like 10 releases. There's Nickelodeon Smash Game, Back for Blood, House of Ashes, Guardians of the Galaxy, Mario Party, Dollhouse, Fatal Frame, Demon Slayer, Pokemon remakes. That's like 10 games. Also, thank you all in the Discord for helping me choose what we're going to stream for Halloween. I appreciate your help. I don't know where these people are again. Yeah, I want to play the Fatal Frame game that's on the Wii. And then hopefully hype up the new one. Well, like every... Oh, we can go in. Okay, so we're gonna fight. Are we fighting this? Not Norway! Love from Norway! Are you providing said game? Are you gonna provide me some triangle strategy, SlayMama_123? Because I would love to play. You know who might provide us something? And they already have? Udi! Go over to Udi's Linktree and use code Nemesis at checkout for $30 off. Wow, isn't that great? Oh no, we're not going up this way again. Just keeping this hair behind my neck has been gross. Was I just used for a plug? Yeah. Yeah. I know, Ty Guy, it was great. I loved it. I love it, I love it, I love it! My mom, I'm just getting an Udi. Please? I mean, why not? You get money off if you want to get one, you know? Because it supports me and you. Holly! Hi, baby. Holly, thank you so, so much for the raid. How are you doing? I hope you're doing amazing. Holly Scat raid. How are you doing, baby? I'm happy to see you. I hope we can do something soon. I know I ask that every time you raid, but like, would love to do something with you soon. Thank you for the raid. Glasses, thank you so much for the subscription. I get some cheering, some applause. We just had the Nintendo Direct. We live streamed it. I do co-streams here. Every event there is, live on location. Just want to let y'all know. I got the news. If y'all need it, I'm here live, just for you, baby. Thank you so much. What if I just gift a sub every stream and you go broke? You should. Yeah. No, you don't have to do anything. Thank you for the raid. Anybody coming in, I'm Nemesis in the network here every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. I am a drag queen variety streamer, mostly retro. Honestly, everything. If you want to stay when Holly is not live, I'm here every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. But please support Holly. I love them so much. They're an amazing presence and a supporter of me. And I love them so much too. They're amazing. This just in. Oh, here's actual breaking news. Hold on. Let me hit the track. Where is the track? Where is it? This just in, breaking news. I could barely fit into this dress today because my fat, delicious ass couldn't fit into this dress. Because my ass has gotten bigger. My dump truck ass could barely fit into this dress. Breaking. I almost broke this dress. Breaking news. Breaking news. This dress. Thank you, Glasses. Thank you so much for gifting some subs. I appreciate your support. What was that? What was your favorite thing from the Direct? Gemma, my favorite thing was probably Bayonetta 3. I know that's very typical. I liked the Chocobo game, and I also liked the Kirby game, because we're going to be streaming the Kirby games from retro to current. So our series is going to be complete with the new Kirby game, and I'm so excited. That is so handy. Exactly. I'm not padded. I did gain some weight and it went straight to my ass. It really did. And my thighs. My thighs are really big now. I mean, like, big thighs are hot, so I'm not really complaining. Just had to say that. Thank you, baby. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, glasses. I'm still lost, so lost and confused. I had to smile. Oh, I smile. 3D Kirby. Has that ever happened before? Has he had a 3D game? I don't think so. Except for Kirby Air Ride. I mean, I could fight the gym, but I want to level up, but it's not letting me, so. Let's try. Let's try. We'll attempt. My BBL. I got my BBL where Chad Michaels got their BBL. What's this slime? Ew! Ew! Oh! I didn't like that. Not about to die. Well, you said it. Oh, a Harlequin! Wait, that's such a cute design. Right, my nose. Go, Gawk! I do! All my socials are NemesisLacroix. Except for on here, it's just Nemesis Network. Well, this obviously isn't gonna work. Listen, I'm not gonna say that my Twitter is great. I'm also not gonna confirm or deny that I delete my tweets every other minute. But that's none of your business. Hi, Kuro. Wait, isn't grass super effective against water? I have neither, Doom. I'm fucked. Oh, smack, smack. Oh, oh. You better smack that bitch. Smack can. Nope. My team is fucked in this. There's no Pokemon in this game. Sorry, the smacking sends me. It's not dead? I'm fucked. Let's try Sockon. Sockon D's nuts! The damage? Yes, damage, you better fuck it up. I wanted to see what that move did. Not the crit and insta-kill, huh? Yeah. Oh my god, speedrun, how fast can I die, heart? The only one I have is this. Just kill me. I need to go catch some Pokemon. I can't do this. Yep! Yeah, I don't want to catch Pokemon that I'm not going to use later. Like, y'all are like, Nem, do this! Do the strategy! Train and do the Macarena! And I'm like, y'all, I'm just here to have cute Pokemon and, like, win. Like, I'm not going to catch an ugly Pokemon because I'm not the type of girl. I don't like them. If they're ugly, stay away from me. I don't want you anywhere near me. I'm going to catch the ugly. You're going to make me sick. Did it say Girl Boss bled out? I bled out. Okay, I'll do the Macarena. I'm pretty sure that's not it, but I tried. Ah! We're getting 2 raids? Are you serious? Yovska! I was thinking about you the other day. I think we were talking about you on the stream. We were like, Yovska's like concepts and their like brain is so big and they're so creative. I love them so much. We were standing the other day. We were. How are you doing? How are you doing, babe? Happy to see ya. Do you want me to do the Macarena? Okay. One Macarena. Yes, from Dragula. Lots of Dragula besties. Erica, Yovska, bitch. All Twitch streamers. We streamed the direct. Did you see the direct, Yovska? I hope you had a great stream. Thank you for the raid again. I appreciate it. Thank you, baby. Happy to see ya. I hope we can do something soon. That we can do like a collab or something. Hi, Kevin. Happy to see ya. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming in. Anybody that's new here, I'm Nemesis. I run the network around here every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Full drag queen, all the time, fun times. I play lots of retro games. Usually, I honestly play a lot of shit, so. Oh, thank you for gifting some subs and glasses. Thank you, babe. Oh yeah, if you're coming from the raid, if you can refresh your stream just so it helps with analytics, I'd appreciate it. But you don't have to. It's fine. Thank you for the follow, Kevin. The cosplay was immaculate. No, it was. And it was! You know the song, Hey, Hey, Baby, Oh, Oh, No. No, I don't. Okay, we need to go catch new Pokemon, so like, where are we supposed to go? There's like a hair in my eye. I need you to give me the stone. Thank you so much for the raid again, baby. I'll see you around. The Quinceañera store. My fan is like blowing on me, so this hair keeps going into my eye. Enough. I've had enough of you. I'm gonna run all the way over this. It's so good. Especially with everything happening on Twitch, it's so handy. I do have to sign into my bot though, which is kind of annoying. Kind of an annoying process to do, but it's worth it. I think. It's definitely a lot. Definitely a little extra. They were definitely feeling themselves with doing these camera angles. They said, let's do something for this little running bit. I gotta go back. I gotta train my Pokemon. I'm running, I'm running, I'm running. Running, I'm running, I'm running. Running, I'm running, I'm running. I'm running, I'm running, I'm running. Oh wait, we didn't fight these people on the bridge. Let me fight these people. Wait, are my Pokemon healed? I guess we'll find out. Oh. I would never say that, Christian girl. I would never say. Which one is the cold drink that I got? But that drink is leaking. Coming for the locals. Oh, I'm so excited for me and Jules' streams this winter. Very excited. Yeah. Oh, good morning, Joel. I'm excited for our Resident Evil. Very excited. What does that say? Well, this isn't a good move. I mean, I'll put it on the growth. Me too. Oh my god, wait, what if the Fortnite shop is good tonight? We will really win big. Joel, did you see Bago 3? Are you shook the house? These Fruity Pebble macaroons. Are you shook the house? Houston, I'm deceased. Not my little BBLs. Would you consider using a Pokemon to get through the gym? No, I'm not that type of girl. I will not go against my morals. She does look amazing. I forgot to change Pokemon. Oop. Oh! Okay. Well, I can't really catch any Pokemon that would work anyway, because like all of these Pokemon are, first of all, low level. Second of all, they don't work. Like, I don't like doves. I don't like pigeons. So no. No. When I tell y'all I hate birds so much, because every day I would go to school when I lived in New York, and they would like sit outside my apartment building and like just all like sit there like waiting. Like, get away. Get away. Oh, shiny. I don't know. Wait, why is he... Okay. I hate seagulls. Oh my god. You hear my dogs barking? No, you didn't. Oh, they're going off. Not safety tweeting. Steel is working at Redacted Donuts by. I've never felt so betrayed. That was definitely interesting. That was definitely camp. Wait, Jewel, did you buy the Lederhosen? Jewel, you have 1 minute! Ah! You don't want to be sister? Who's kanoonin? And Jewel doesn't want to be sister who's kanoonin with me. That's messed up. I feel like that would be a little offensive, but... Fortnite Battle Shop. Let's see what it is today. Venom's in the shop. Cute. Oh, nothing good. Nothing good. To who? Can my Pokemon, like, not die? This is just a random Pokemon. It's, like, wrecking my shit. Girl, stop. World, stop. This thing paralyzes me again. I'm gonna scream. Why is it confused? It just hit itself. Are you okay? Oh, can it? I will use that ice move to my death. There we go. Peppermint's confused. Ava's confused. We're all fucking confused. Yeah, me on Fortnite. I accidentally put too much money on and now I'm like, another day. It's fine, I'll just save it. I just need my payday to come because my account is pretty low and it's kind of scary. Like, I don't like going below a certain number and I accidentally went below that number and like, now I'm just stressed. Like, I love spending money on myself, but sometimes I'm like, fuck. It's not very effective, and then I almost just killed it. Fuck! Get out of my way! I need to level up Doc. Wait, that's a good move. It lowers their speed. The last evolution. Do I have any rare candies? I don't think we do. It's weird that in the new area there's not like you can't go to the sand place, like the desert. Sand place. You can't go to the desert yet. Like that's the area you're supposed to level up in. Hi Daisy. Oh yeah, that's right. They did put those skins on. Oh, Dawnbringer, Lilia, or Nightbringer, whatever. Do they have borders? Fuck. Woobats are okay, but I don't want to go back and catch it. I want to get the borders, but I'm broke. I've had to skip on so much because I'm like trying to save money. Like I skipped on some of the Fortnite stuff, and then I skipped on now these league skins. I skipped on something else. I had to stop on Genshin, even though I want to put my money on. Can we get another stimulus? I feel like that would be nice. Don't disrespect Fortnite here. We love Fortnite. We love Fortnite. Okay, where are we supposed to do the gym? Not facts. Flop champ, I fear. Yeah, people that build in Fortnite, you're weird. Like, stop. Yeah, right? I mean, like... I just don't I mean, like... Apparently Genshin's gonna have, like, a bunch of reruns, so I'm not gonna put money on it for a while, so... Might as well spend now, opposed to the next 4 months that there's not gonna be a new character. Kinda sucks, but... Got a nosebleed. I haven't had one of those in years. Wait, what did he say? You need to do the gym? Oh. Oh, that's unfortunate, isn't it? Oh wait, I can go right here. There we go. Oh, I love Darumaka! I want a Darumaka, I want a Darumaka, I want a Darumaka. Yeah, it's a gotcha. Oh. I mean, we'll find another one. That one was low level too, so we'll find another. I didn't think my Pokemon was gonna do that much damage. So this is higher level. I need an Everstone, because I don't want Darumaka to evolve. Yay! Heart ball. Oh, I love Sandile. He's a cutie. No class, no manners. What? I think it's a nice name. I like it. Heart ball. Oh, excuse me. Well, we're still pregnant for another 18 months, honey. So we got time to... Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Does the bitch have a parasol? What is that? Okay, serve. Okay! This parasol, you better do it. What's her name? It'll be like Debbie. Oh, April. Parasol lady. Parasol lady. You could just say her name's April. Like, what do you mean parasol lady? That's so weird. Do what? Do what? Yeah, it's been like forever. Listen, why is this Pokemon throwing up on me? What the fuck? Don't get wrecked. Not very effective, girl. Oh, not the sandstorm killing it. The sandstorm's literally gonna kill it, so it's fine. I am, yeah. No spoilers, please. Parasol lady, what's her name? April Carrion. Oh, got y'all wet. Remember when it took me forever to figure out that reference? That was a lot. What's that man's name? Fred? Aha, poopy. She's got me all wet. I was plucked. You'd be plucked too. You'd be plucked. So much. Boot. Hello? Is there just no Pokemon here? Hello? 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 There we go. I can't believe they released a new Kirby game. I'm literally gonna cry of excitement. Like, oh, so cute. You know what, actually, me and Jewel were investigating this. They're removing Untucked on Hulu, like the older seasons, like season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they're gonna remove it, which, like, they say a lot of nasty stuff in there. They say the T word a lot. And they're gonna remove it off Hulu soon. So watch it while you can. Yeah, that. They're removing, they say it a lot. They say, like, not to be, like, rude, but, like, Shangela says it a lot in the Untucks. Like, a lot. They're gonna censor it if they release it, so get uncensored words now. And they also say the F word a lot. Tatiana fully says the F word. What will Fartball do? Well, I know what Fartball is gonna do. Yeah, but like it was uncensored on TV. When it was fully, you know. But it's fully a slur. But not makes sense. Let's not phrase it like that. But yeah, they were saying it like uncensored. It was like, oh. Hello? Oh, he's gonna die. Oh no, he's not. Okay, cool. Thanks. Not avoided the attack. They say fish a lot too, it's bad. And they still do on some current seasons. Like, y'all stop. That was just rude. I didn't say it. The way you were so fast with it. I need a snack. The only snacks I have are chips, though. I don't want chips. How many Pokemon do you have, girl? How much food do you have down there, girl? Smorgasbord. Oh my god, wait, it does look like his dick's swanging. Sakon, what have you? Anyways, moving on. We're not gonna, you know, I don't agree with what she says, but I don't want to use my chat as a chat room to degrade people on TV. Unless they're, like, especially a trans woman. Well, we're just gonna move past that. I don't even like them that much, but I don't want to trash a trans woman. Like, she doesn't deserve it. Well... plank of wood, please. I smack you with the plank of wood. This is Duramaka, he's so cute. Oh, whoa, whoa! I think I'm gonna die from this, but it's fine. Did you see that RuPaul was like posting lip syncs on TikTok? It's interesting. I want to see if she liked my comment. I commented on her sickening lip sync on TikTok. At RuPaul Official. It came up on my TikTok For You page and I was like, excuse me? I need to go back to the Pokemon Center. Oh. Tendile, please. Not the shoe weapon. I can't. I hate the shoe weapon. I want a Luby. A Lubiton. I buy. Oh my god. The way I've been streaming this for almost an hour now and we're still in this fucking town. Get me out of here. I think I'm gonna be sick. Not the lube conversation again. We had that conversation the other day. Me too. They were robbed. Well, done dirty. I don't like to say robbed. What does that mean? Like Drag Race All-Stars 6? I hate that there's no EXP share. Yeah, I believe so. I'm gonna take a 5-minute BRB. I want to get a drink and I want to cool off. It's really hot in my room, so I'm just gonna like go outside for a second. Maybe like smoke or something. Not weed, but I'll be right back. Sorry. I had to deal with something. And I got pretzels. Bye, Arrow. I watched an episode of Beatdown last night, Willem's Beatdown. There was literally like a chicken's prolapsed anus on it. It was really weird to watch. I don't know. It was a lot. I skipped it. It was gross. Hey! Stop. Oh! Oh, we might die because of the storm. Don't die! Fuck. Ah! This one's level 18. Right? Yeah. Damn it. Nice cock. Oh my god. The dry pretzels, like, does anyone else get that when you eat dry food, you like, your throat just gets really dry? Jesus. My throat. Oh my god. Of course. I want to get one more level on Fartball. Oh my god, get these away from me. I'm gonna eat the whole thing! Ugh. Okay, I'm done eating. Sorry. Why are my legs wet? Interesting. Why is Fartball not leveling up? What is the tea, Fartball? Oh my god, I forgot that I have work tomorrow. Oh no. Effing chat, for real. Oh my god. I have to look presentable tomorrow. I have to brush my hair tomorrow. I have to help people tomorrow. I have to be in the presence of others tomorrow. That's sick. Thoughts and prayers. Pokémon Center. We found it. Eureka. Y'all suck. Want another pretzel? Fuck. Ooh, soft pretzels, like Auntie Anne's pretzels right now. That sounds good. Ooh. Ooh. With who? Like on Twitter? Ava, oh my god. I hope they're okay. Yes! Yes, Fartball! You better fuck it up, Fartball! Yes! So true, Fartball Bestie. Fartball Bestie's fucking it up. Why is there, like, honey? Oh, I get it, because it's like a beehive. Oh. I didn't realize that till now. Okay. Oh my god, watch out the beehive. Oh, I put on a beehive. Current raining. Current raining. I have a picture with them. I have a video with them, actually. Oh, I put on my broccoli. Oh, I thought you said broccoli. I saw you say put on, and then I was like, oh. Oh, I don't know if this will kill it. No, stop! Stop! No! Fuck you, Dwubble! No one likes you anyway, you fucking ugly turd. I swear on God. I swear. No, it's literally a turd. Die! You're ugly! Yep. Yeah. I have to go back. I don't have any revives, do I? I don't think I do. How fucking annoying is that? Look what you did. Can I just get through the honey? Okay, someone revive my Pokemon. He's the carry. I run all the way down the straight. The straight. Yeah, please revive my Pokemon. It's dead. Pleek, pleek. Thank you very much. I'm going this way. I'm on my way. I'm running, I'm running, I'm running. Alright, let's go. Whoever's got that ugly crab snail thing Pokemon, you will have no peace. You will never know peace. I have to fight you again? Oh. I already fought you, you dummy. It's good, Alpha. Thanks. Oh. I don't think I need to go in there. That looks like a trap. I stare. Hi, Christian. You look so stunned. Hi. Thank you. We have to go all the way around? What the fuck is this? I hate it here. This clown is about to pop out at me, yeah. Clown! You fucking clown! Oh, you only have one Pokemon? Boo. Boo. Yo, fuck it up, Fartball. Let's kill him. Get fucked. Easy. GG's. GG's. Like, the easiest I've ever fought in my life. Like, so ease. I love Fartball. Fartball, my beloved. Listen here, buddy. I won't let you survive this. I'm not just gonna kill your Pokemon, I'm gonna kill you and your Pokemon. Oh, I didn't want to do that. It's okay. Oh, shut up! Oh, so the one time I don't, you use Venom Tail. You fuck. Oh, you got smacked, bitch. I'm gonna do it again. Yeah, watch this. Hiya! Bitch! Level 20 fart ball. Ow. Correct. Lewis. Oh, I have to turn them both on. Hi, John. Another clown's gonna pop out at me. Stupid clown. Run before the clown! Okay. We got a Duramaka and we named it Fart Ball. Fart Ball, my beloved. I fuck. Berg. Hi, Haunted. Why are you on your knees? Don't. Oh my. Fart Ball, fuck him up. Kill his ass. Period. You better shit. Very excited. Very, very excited. Did I mention very excited? Because I'm very excited. Oh, get wrecked! Get wrecked! Can't stop me now because I'm having a good time. Having a good time. Yo, Fartball carry? Oh, not protect. Shut up. Girl. Oh! Get wrecked. I mean, come on now. Level 40 will obey you. Not the struggle bug. Bye! I hate this. I'm out of here. I don't know how I got in here, so I'm gonna pretend like this is the way we came in. It was not. Let me out! Let me out! Oh. Yeah, me too. I don't like these walls either. Make me uncomfy. I like that they had this, like, based off a bee, but they didn't have a bee Pokemon until Gen 7 or something. Rabombi. Oh no, they have Beedrill. My bad, sorry. But that person didn't have Beedrill. I didn't read what she needed me to say. Fuck my life. I think she said come to the docks. This is what I get. That's what you get when Nem doesn't read. Oh. That's what I get, cause I don't like to fucking read. Oh. Oh. Let me heal my Pokemon. Alright, I'm ready to get out of this town. This town makes me sick. Get me out. Got me out. Oh, hey, girl. Hi, girl boss. Okay, girl. Bianca's cute, though. I like her. Wait, I could easily do a Bianca cosplay. Now, hold on now. Wait, I'm mad she didn't heal our Pokemon before this. She's just like, yeah, if your Pokemon are dead, like, yeah, that sucks. Bianca! Oh. You make me sick. Oh! I didn't think that was gonna kill it. Yes! Who is that? Sounds like a fire type Pokemon, so I'm gonna switch. Oh, that's Tepig. Oh, it was really bad for her. I think Sage is... It's not the fire one. God, I don't know. Oh, my phone's in the other room. What is Sage the water or the grass one? Grass? Okay. No, do your ability. No. My broccoli. I hate how much they use Paralyze in this game. Like, get away. Like, stop. Nice. We did it, we did it, we did it, hooray! Bye-bye, girl boss! Bye! I'm going this way, girly. Oh, hey. Please heal my Pokemon if you want to fight. You didn't heal my Pokemon? You're a piece of shit! Girl boss. Oh wait, that's the water one. Oh my god, I should have switched. Fuck. This is probably gonna kill her. It's not very strong. No, stop! There we go. Okay. I'm hoping it's probably gonna kill her. Bye, Clown Prince. Thank you for hanging. Oh! Now, what was the reason? Hey, Will! How you doing? Okay. That was just rude switching out the Pokemon. Like, what is your problem? Go, Fireball! Doing great. I had a great stream today. I have work tomorrow, so I'm gonna have to end. Not so soon, but kind of soonish. Happy I could see you before I ended. Die. Correct. That's right. I know that's right. Fart Ball literally gaining these levels? Go ahead. Switch, because this is the... Fart Ball, good job! It's really nice to see you. Thanks for hanging. Okay, we're gonna use this. I'm pretty sure he's gonna kill me before I can use this. Oh my god, the 4 health leak. Oh no! Okay, he's faster than me, so I have to use a potion. Stop biting me, you freak. Oh, nope. We just need to hit him with 1 attack and then we're good. Stop! Okay, we're good. Got him. Yes, Gawk, you better fuck it up. Use your Mega Drain. Switch. Fart Ball to get some levels. Could have used the other character, but I'm gonna use Fart Ball. Not Torment. Huh? Aw, man. Oh. Nice! The damage on this guy, let's go. That was good. Yes, trans receiver. Robots, do you have a second? Nimbasa City. I'm excited to go. I'm excited to find some new Pokemons. Yeah, get out of my way. Ooh. Do I have enough health? I'm just gonna heal my Pokemon because I don't want to go back into that city. Like, I'm done with that city. Let me heal. Let me save this. I don't want to redo that at all. Okay, we're all good. Or Audino in the back of my party, like she has no use. Like, I feel so bad. Oh my god. Technically, if I caught a higher level Duramaka, it'd be the highest level Pokemon in my party. Like, if I got a level 18, it would be level 26 by now. Oh, I can sneak around this guy. I'm gonna use a repel in this area because I don't really see a point in sticking around. But I want to fight this guy, so. Not the Duramaka on Duramaka crime. Need to switch Duramaka out of the top spot. Where's Slowpoke? That's the real question. Ooh. Oh, wow. Nice. I don't want to fight these people. Get away from me. I just want to get to the next city. Girl, not your P-dub. Right? No, like, actually. I mean, like, I kind of like it for grinding, but, like, right now, when I'm just trying to get to the next city, I'm like, go away. I'm here. If you make me fight you again, I fought you a lot. Let's stop. What are we getting? Oh, thanks. Remember to enjoy your journey. Thanks. Bye. What should we do now? I think we should show the professor. Why'd I say professor like that? Professor. Please, girl boss. Oh, what a cute city. Oh, maybe not anymore. Team Plasma's just being a ruckus. Please help me! Can I fight you both at the same? Okay. You know, I make my job easier and make it so I can fight you both at the same time, or not the 2 team. Okay. Now y'all are just doing too much. Thank you for the follow towels. What? Okay, that was just annoying. No! Fuck you. Had to when I saw that beautiful mug. Thanks, baby. We're just enjoying some Pokemon. Vibing out. Oh my god, these Pokemon. Protect! I'm gonna use a sleep thing. I'm gonna use a paralysis move. Like, shut up. Just do damage or die. Not Trubbish, please. It made a fart noise. Okay, I want Samurott. So I think I'm gonna, like, try to level up Dewott. Dewott. Now we gotta fight the other one. Oh, bye! Haha. Oh, yay! We got the bicycle! Oh, hey, Bianca. There's an amusement park. I wanna go. Oh, thanks. Na na na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Can I buy Ultra Balls here? Let's see. Nope. Oh my god. I don't know if I want that much. I can buy revives. We're pretty sad. What the? Sorry, I walked in on something. I'll go. And that's the gym. What the? Bianca, please. There's a musical theater. No, I don't want to go with you. Get away from me. Girl. I don't want to go to the theater. I don't want to see another play. Not the theater gaze. Let me out! Oh. Well, thank you for the nice bat. Oh, prop case. Prop queen. Prop what? Oh, that's cute. Why am I being forced to do this? Can I go? Leave me alone! Oh my fucking head. Not daddy! We're gonna move past that. Oh my god, she's such a serve, Elisa. Oh my god, one of my favorite Pokemon gym leaders. She's such a girl boss. I love her so much. There's like this heartfelt moment, and I'm like, no. Who wants to read that? Not me. Okay, can I just go to the route? Like, well, can I just get a cigarette? The chef? So true, bestie. Who's on this route? Let's find out. Jigglypuff. 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 Oh my god! We have to get her Gothita! The original girl boss. She's iconic. She's iconic. She's iconic. No, stop avoiding my attack, girl. Oh, she's still alive? Come on, Gothita, come home! Come home, come home, come home! Eee! Of course I do. Listen, she turns into a MILF. She's not a MILF now, but she will be one. When she grows up. No, that's too generic, because everybody names her Goth GF or Big Titty Goth GF. She's coming in the party. I gotta organize my party. There's some people in my party that I need to get rid of. I'm sorry, Adino, but we have to put you away. Not we have to put you away. Oh no, I was gonna put away someone else. Hold on. Sorry, Sawcon. Your time's up. Your time is up! Oh, fuck. What the fuck? Just let me take my Pokemon out of the fucking computer. Hi, Jenny. Did you like how I said that today? I wasn't plaqued. How'd you like that? Jenny, do you see Animal Crossing news? We're getting the coffee shop. I'm slapping on makeup. Oh, can I get a pat? Did you check if our bestie was live? Did you say hi? So true. Oh my god, all the cute Pokemon are here. I think they'll add gyroids with Brewster, but they didn't show anything. They like didn't show like anything at all. Damn it. I fucking hate you. No, I didn't. Why not? Come on, Jenny. Come on. Come on. Oh, Backpacker Lois. Deep breath. Good luck. You're gonna need it. Oh, so you're not the SmackDown official GM. You're the SmackDown official cow. You know what I need to add to the soundboard? I need to add Kelly Kelly's theme song. Holler! Holler! Trubbish makes like a literal like fart noise when you encounter him. Good for him. Double smack. Smack cam. Oh! I have to pee so bad. I'm doing the pee-pee dance. Okay, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Be 2 seconds. Houston, I'm deceased. These fruity pebble macaroons. He's fruity. Do you see I'm wearing matching pantaloons? That was my jockstrap, please. Ignore that. The chair is giving. It's giving Delta chair. It's giving the giving tree. Why is it so hot? I'm tired of this. Can it be? It's literally the first day of fall. I've had enough. These fruity pebble macaroons. Houston, I'm deceased. Houston, I'm deceased. Ow. No. Marshall, no they don't, sweetie. Not Marshall being an adult and not knowing that. In America. Well, to be honest, I didn't know Australia did that, but... No, that doesn't happen. It's literally like any other day. I honestly didn't even know it was today. Ow! What? Hit myself in the nuts. Oh yeah, yesterday. Whatever. Same day. It's the same day. Fuck. I mean, it really is, though. If you really think about it. These fruity pebble macaroons! Listen, Trubbish. 4 times? First, I'm that bitch. I'm only gonna say it 1 time. Oh, I want one! No, I don't actually. I thought that was the other Toad Pokemon. Houston, I'm deceased. I was shocked, honey. Why did it just heal? Get away. Oh, wow. That was a lot of damage, sir. It avoided my attack? I think it did not, actually. That's funny that you mentioned that, because I don't think it did. Sorry, mommy. Sorry, mommy. Meow, meow, meow. I don't like this happening with it healing. Not a big fan, not a big stan. Whatever. Excuse me. I know that was obnoxious. A rabbi. The double battle scared me. I was like, what is that noise? Let's do it. I'm gonna fight them. Oh. We only have one Pokemon left. When is she gonna evolve? Not to be rude to Miss Thing, but like, you've been really low level this whole time, girl. That was so rude. It's okay, I can take him. Oh, it's still alive. No. No, only one. Okay, good. I want the little baby. I want him. I want him. Please don't kill me. Give me the baby. Oh, not the baby. Redacted. Oh, I need a sunstone? That's interesting. Fuck. I'm gonna die! Leave me alone! Oh, fuck me. Get away. No, get away. Can we run? What do you mean couldn't get away? Oh, my fucking head. You better run. Thank fucking Jesus. Alright. Bag. Repel. Yeah. I need to go back. Safely. So you need a moonstone to evolve the chinchilla Pokemon. I don't know how to pronounce it. Minccino? Where do you even get these stones? I need you to give me the stone. Oh, hi, N. Talk to Serena. Well, House is ordering some rocks online, so House might know. Oh, we go on a Ferris wheel ride. Oh, wow. This is quaint. I must tell you, I am the king of Team Plasma. Excuse me? So you're a traitor. Okay. This twist. Wow, I didn't see this cup. Oh my god. I need you to give me the stone. Do I need a Firestone to evolve Duramaka? Like, why do I need all these stones for these Pokemon? Why? Why? No, you're not gonna throw a Duramaka because mine is doing well. And you're gonna fuck off. Is this not like 32 or something? When you get a pretty Pokemon, can you name it House? Yeah, I'll name you after Trubbish. $35. You know what's funnier than 34? 35. I don't. What is that Pokemon? You are not seeing the pearly gates, please. You know this Pokemon was supposed to originally be a legendary? Two? Just two? Why just two? This cutscene. Hi, N. Looking very dapper. Did you say two because poop? It's poop. Oh, her contour just looks like poop. You will not be seeing the pearly gates. Are my boobies showing? Not out of context, Jenny, please. I don't remember. It was a season 11. I think it was a season 13. I'm pretty sure it was Tooties. I don't remember. Where's Jewel? I don't have my phone. I was gonna text them, but I don't have my phone. It's in the other room. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Miss Tooties. I think I could do this one easily because I have do what? It's electricity, so. Oh my god, look at these nice bumper cars! Oh, how fun! What do you want, ugly? Stupid bitch! Oh, she's cute! Lady Magnolia. I want a Milgola. Gimme. I want to get Pokemon plushies. Come on, guys. Come on! Come on! I have so much I want. Jesus Christ. Can I get my check? Cut the check. You poopy fart. You big poopy poopy. You poopy 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 fart. Poopy poopy fart. Ava, I can't believe you said something about Paper Mario earlier. That was so nasty. I know you and Gray are plucked. I did enjoy it, but it's hard. I did look good in those streams too. What were we stuck at? Were we stuck at the ring? Oh yeah, we were, because we had to do so many matches. That took forever. You had to do like 20 matches. That literally took forever. Ooh, I don't have a lot of heals. I should be fine. It's been 84 years. It wasn't that long ago! It might have been that long ago, actually. It might have. It might have. If I can't remember, then probably. I mean, hey, if we ever run out of... I was complaining earlier, if we ever run out of games to play, we can always go back. That is a fear, though. Like, kind of scary to think about. Like, what if I run out of games to play eventually? Yes, we should play Frogger again. No, actually, we should, though. I gotta expose the new members of the community to Frogger. That was a moment. The ending to that game? I'm thinking about the ending to that game. The way I could literally become a Frogger speedrunner. I probably qualified now that I think about it. So I did it all in one sitting. Oh! Where's my boobie out? Stop. Does this person have 4 Pokemon? Excuse me. Excuse me, mommy. Excuse me, mommy. Excuse me, mommy. Oh, yes. I don't know what that is. Oh, only 2, okay. Jesus, they just gave me 3K for killing him. For murdering him. Hey! 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 Let me in. This is a lot. I get motion sick. Whoa! Oh! That's a lot of people you gotta fight in this gym. Thank God I chose the water starter. Tee hee 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 hee. I giggle. I giggle. Oh my God. No. They're mutually super effective to each other, so it's kind of annoying. Actually, I'm gonna... fuck, I don't know. I'm just gonna try. I have a revive. I'll be fine. That's not good. Oh, go. Yes! No, my team is a little different. Thank God I bought all these paralyzed heals, because fuck. Oh my god! I throw up. Oh. Hi. She's a girl boss. Look at this art. Oh, she's so... I love her. Hi, Chi. Oh, she's so cool. I love her. Do what? Do what? Uh-oh. Hold on now. Kill him. Yes! Yes, crit rate. My Duwat's building crit rate. Has some artifacts on it. Oh dear god, please don't kill me. Okay, we're good. What the fuck? Okay. Not this again. Oof. Not paralyzed too. I have a revive, so I'm just gonna go for it. Oh no. It's okay. Oh, nice. Oh no, I don't want that. Oh. Do it again, do it again. No! They love to use a hyper potion. Get a crit, get a crit, get a crit! Oh! Fuck you. Not another! You're a little bitch! Oh! Okay, girl boss. Yes, fart ball. Fart ball serve. That's pretty easy with the water type. And fart ball carry. Methinks. We got 4 done, 4 to go. No, I missed the bus! Come back. home. Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Excuse me, lady. Just walking right in front of me. Please don't. Oh my dear fucking god. Uh-huh. Biting my lip. Oh my god. Oh, fuck you. Servine! I remember that's what it sounds like. Oh, not in this game. Sorry. I miss Poke Park. Poke Park was such a good game. I think the reason she's not leveling up is because we need that stone to level her up. And it's super effective and did no damage. Okay. I don't even care. Fuck you for using the same move, dude. Annoying. Thank you, Michael. How are you doing? Sorry, I'm focused. I'm into this game. Not really. I wanna get to the next area. I hate bird Pokemon. Get away. Just sat down for a movie. What movie are you gonna watch? What is going on with my leg? Oh. Me too. I'm having a good time. I just have to end soon because unfortunately, I have work in the morning. So, but we got 2 gyms done, so I think that's pretty good. Who's this guy? Oh my god, I want to see that. I forgot that's out. Did you like, did you live, did you laugh, did you love? Or did you hate? Oh my god, lucky you. I'm jealous. Thankfully, not a lot of people come to my work anymore. Because it's like winter, fall. Hoping it's not busy tomorrow. This blue. Oh, yes, crit. Oh, did I fight the same person? That's awkward. You avoided my attack. I hate you. I hate you. I want a work from home job. I mean, I have one right now. Like, doing this. Like, if I could, like, not go to the arcade, oh, that'd be bliss. Can these stop healing? Is that an option? They did a lot of damage to that guy. What the fuck? Lucky you though, like, so happy for you. Fuck, sorry. I know they're contagious, I didn't mean to. Yeah, fuck you. Oh, not my bestie dying. Oh, he has more Pokemon. We got this. We got this. Oh, I did the wrong... They really do, though. Thankfully, as much as I hate my job, I get to, like, actually go and do stuff. Because I think if I did do a work-from-home job, I'd probably get nothing done because I get too distracted. I'd probably take so many days off that I just don't do any work. My mom has a nice work-from-home one, though. What's going on? Oh, please lower the drawbridge. Oh my goodness. Oh my. That one drawbridge in Final Destination. Oh, bye, girl. Said I have to go this way. Let's ride. I'm probably gonna have to fight people. Oh, everyone's alive. Cute. How do I ride my bike? Yeah, honestly. No, I see that. Oh. God, I thought he was gonna fight me. Don't bite me. Turn around. Oh my god. Oh wait, this is the city. The music! This is in our music for starting streams. I dance. Wait, is the gym leader here rock? I could do this easily too. That's embarrassing, huh? Isn't water super effective against rock? Oh. Not the GGEZ. I don't want to bring Sakon back out. He's dead. I'm done with him. He's over. He's also severely underleveled, so I'll take... that's a boot. What Pokemon we got over here? Who's over here? Ew! Get away from me. Oh my god, Slowpoke? No, I hate the fungus. Boot. Nope. Where are we? I think that's where we're calling it. I got work tomorrow. Dun, 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 dun. I was gonna do it, but we'll just do it next stream, so it's like an easy start to a stream. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. We're gonna send love over to Bella. Tell Bella I say hi. I'm gonna immediately take this wig off and run upstairs to go to the bathroom because I have to pee and I wanna shower and do all that good stuff. Oh my god, wait, I look so gorgeous. Let me do stuff for the thumbnail really quick. Before we end. No nail on. Okay. I'll see y'all next time. I'll be live on Saturday. We're gonna have a comfy stream on Saturday. I'll wear cute, like, I'll wear, like, a cute outfit, super casual, because we'll do a longer stream on Saturday. And I had work that day and then the next day and then so I'm gonna wear something comfy on Saturday and we'll have a comfy stream and hopefully get to the Elite Four. I want to get all 4 of these last ones left. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm gonna raid before this ends. I'll see y'all Saturday. I love you. Thank you for the subs and the raids and everything. I love you all. I'll see you on the next one. See you Saturday. Don't forget Saturday. I'll see you Saturday.